what I'm going to talk about in this video is some Excel tricks that you can use to help you make a concrete mix design spreadsheet. So when you were going over the mix design example, you probably realized that you have to look at a lot of tables and you have to make several choices. So what I'm going to give you today are some easy tools that you can use to tell Excel how to read a table. The first thing I want to talk about is um, making a drop-down menu, because if you add drop-down menus into your spreadsheet, it makes it really easy to do. So if you want to turn a cell into a drop-down menu, the first thing you need is a list. So I'm going to make a list today. It's going to have on it fruits and vegetables. Now, if we want to make cell A1 into a drop-down list that has both fruits and vegetables on it, what we need to do is go to the data ribbon, click on data validation. It will say allow list, and then down at the source you just select your list that you just made. You hit enter and OK. Now cell A1 is a drop-down menu that says both fruits and vegetables. So that's great. Now we can we can use this to select different things or tell Excel what to look at. So we can do this, we're going to need two tables, and we'll make one a table that has fruits on the vertical, so we'll say apple, grape, cherry, and colors on the y-axis or the left-hand side. Let's say green, blue, and yellow. Now I'm going to make a second table which has vegetables on the top row. Let's say carrots, peas, and corn. And again, we'll have colors on the vertical. And we'll just say green, blue, and yellow. So now what we can do, let's put some numbers in here. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now what we want to do is create some cells that allow us to put in some of these, I guess we would call them variables, like the color or the fruit or the vegetable, and have it read from the list. So what we're going to want to do is make another drop-down menu. So we'll go back to the data validation tool and click data validation, make a list. We'll make a list of colors. We'll make a list of fruits. We'll make a list of vegetables. Okay. So now what we want to do is program some cells that tell us, depending on what we have chosen, we want it to look up the value on the table. So to do this, we're going to use a command called index. Actually, two commands. One is index and one is match. So what we're going to do is just pick a cell. Let's pick cell C1, we're going to say equals, and then we're going to type index in all capitals, INDX. As you see, you do it. Excel now brings up the definition and what it means. This says returns a value or reference of the cell at the intersection of a particular row and column in a given range. So what you do is you say index, open parentheses, and then it tells you pretty much what to do. It says array, row number, column number. So the array is, you're going to tell it what numbers to look at. So let's make this one so that we can index the colors and the fruits. So our array will be B10 to D12. Once we select array, you add a comma, and then you put row number. So we want this box to look up one of our color values. So green is the green, blue, and yellow are rows. Our columns are apple, grape, and cherry. So we want it to match one of our drop-down cells. So we're going to use the command match. It's capital M-A-T-C-H. That gives you, in there you put a lookup value. Our lookup value is going to be the color, so it'll be A3, the color. And then the lookup array will be the colors in our left-hand column. And the match type, you put one, it will be 1 less than, 0 exact match, 1 greater than. In most of your case, you're going to use the 0, which gives you an exact match. So that will look up our row value. We now want to look up our column value. We use the put a comma and use the match command again. This time our lookup value will be a fruit, so we use cell A4. The lookup array will now be the column names apple, grape, and cherry, and our match type again will be 0, so it's an exact match. Then we do one more parentheses to close the index command, and we hit enter. So it's returning the value 2. So it's saying that when the color is green and the fruit is a grape, it gives us the number 2. So we can go back and change the color. If we change the color to yellow, it changes to 8, because we're looking at grape and yellow, and in that intersection we have the number 8. Alright, and let's go through and do the same thing for our vegetables. So we're going to use index again. It's going to be equals index. Our array now will be G10 to I12, comma, we're going to match, our rows are still the colors, so we select the color, or we're going to use the match command, ATCH. The lookup value is still a color. The lookup array is still the left-hand column, and the match type will still be exact. And then we'll do the same for the columns. Match will be now vegetables, so A5. That array will be these rows. The match type will be 0. You close those parentheses, you close the second one. And this returns 17 because we have it set to yellow and peas. So if we look at yellow, go over to peas, we have 17. So now, depending on what we change these values to, we get the correct response in cells C1 and C2. And there's one more really useful command or Excel function that you can use that lets you choose between two things, and that is the if statement. So what we're going to do is create an if statement in I1, and it's going to return to us either C1 or C2 depending on whether we select fruits or vegetables. So the if command is really easy. You say equal capital IF for if, and it tells you there's a logic test. So it's saying that you give it a mathematical expression. If something is greater than, equal to, less than, if that value is true, it will respond one thing. If it's not, it will respond the other. So let's say if A1 equals fruits, and we have to type fruits in the exact same way that we did before, but in quotation marks, then it will return C1. If it does not say fruits, it will return C2. So if we plug that and hit enter, we have it set to fruits. C1 is 6, H1 is now 6. If we change this to vegetables, it returns us what's in C2. So that's how you use the index, match, and if commands, and those commands should help you go a really long way into making an Excel sheet that can do a concrete mix design.